Chapter 28. Deeper into the lair. The room was empty, apart from the 6 people with their chicken and some shattered cribs. Ron was between Ambrose and Tally. All 3 still held their wooden clubs, protecting Lydia, who was cowering in the corner. Stunned, they took a few moments to adjust before they appeared to unfreeze. Lydia stood. She and the chicken were swept into Ambrose's embrace as he dropped the table leg he had been wielding. Ron and Tally dropped their makeshift clubs and stared across the wreckage to the cots, where Harry and Toby stood by the open doorway. The 4 of them gathered together and started to push their way through the broken cots towards the door and their companions. "How's the arm, Toby?" Harry was asking. "Hurts, but it ain't bleeding too bad," Toby grimaced. "That was pretty bloody athletic," Ron enthused as he joined them. He had recovered his colour once he had started clubbing spiders, and was quite flushed now. "Parkour," Toby explained. "I saw muggles doing it, jumping around buildings and roofs and things, so I thought I'd try it. When your wand's working, you can't do too bad. You can always save or heal yourself. I guess I got good at it after all, even without the wand." Toby staggered and held on to the doorframe. "You did amazingly well, Ron," Harry noted. "When you're fighting for your life, you just sort of do it." "I have a thing about spiders ever since I was little," he explained to the others. "Lydia does not like heights. I would hazard a guess that Toby dislikes the idea of drowning. Am I right?" Ambrose ventured. Toby nodded vigorously. "Hell yeah." "Ron fears spiders, and it would seem babies," he continued. "I suspect we'll find out what the rest of us fear as we go on." "The rooms are playing on our fears," Harry agreed. "What's yours, Ambrose?" As I said in the mine, dear boy, my greatest fear is probably me, with power." Harry looked at Tally. "Oh, don't get me started," she said. "We'll be here all week. Enclosed spaces, cold, failure, loss. You name it, I got it." "I feel like I've spent my life chasing mine," Harry smiled wryly. "I'm not sure what's left." "If my suspicions are well-founded, you may well be afforded an opportunity to discover what is left before too long." "I'm sure you will face it head-on, of course," Ambrose grimaced. "We can't stay here," Ron pointed out. "Let's keep going." They moved towards Toby and the door. "You look ill, Toby," Harry said. "Are you all right to go on?" "It's uncomfortable. My arm," he explained. "Stings like crazy." "Let me know if you feel groggy," said Harry, his voice full of concern. "Will do," Toby assured him. "It's just the pain at the moment, that's all." Through the rip in his sleeve, the wound looked red and swollen. The whole group seemed to draw a steadying breath and steel themselves before passing through the next doorway. The room they were leaving had been a clinical white. The room beyond was full of a blinding white light. They all squinted painfully until their eyes became accustomed to the brightness. Shapes began to emerge, and above them the sky resolved into a pale blue, growing deeper as they looked around at the mountains. Icy snow crunched underfoot as they pressed forward. Even as they became acclimatized, the sunlight on the snow was searingly bright. Their breath formed in clouds, but the air was so still that the warmth of the sunshine beat upon them, and they felt almost stifled. "So where's the damn door?" Toby demanded. They looked around them. No door to head towards, nor any sign of the door they had come through. They were in a pass between mountain peaks on either side. "We can see where we came from," Lydia said, "from the footprints. I suppose we carry on in a straight line from there." "That much is obvious to a child of 10, Ambrose said. "It is as well we have one with us." "This is different, and I don't know why," Harry mused. "That worries me." "We should move towards the shadowed side of this pass," Ambrose suggested. "No," said Tally. "It's warm in this sunshine. The shadows will be freezing." "I do not suggest moving into the shadows," Ambrose explained. Simply, I think we would be safer if we were away from standing underneath this sunlit slope. He pointed to the peak towering high above them to their left. They looked up, the brightness of the snow a torture to their eyes. But we need to stay on the path towards the next door, Lydia protested, hugging the chicken to her chest. A door will be of no benefit if we... Her uncle's voice trailed away. From above them came a rumble, as if of distant thunder. Run, everyone! Ambrose bellowed, pointing towards the far side of the pass. Harry grabbed Lydia. Ambrose took the chicken from her. They ran, and the others followed. As he ran, holding Lydia's hand, Harry risked a glance behind and upwards. In the expanse of white, he could see a sag in the slopes above. It looked like white paint that was starting to run, except the drip forming was huge and swirled around by a haze of snow. As they ran on, the rumbling became so loud it shook the rock and ice beneath their feet. Toby stumbled and fell, clutching his arm. Unseen by the others because she and her brother were bringing up the rear, Tally slid to a halt and headed back towards him. The mountain was shaking enough to make their teeth feel like they were rattling in their heads. The plume of loose snow began to block out the light. Ron hazarded a look over his shoulder at the moment the avalanche hit the floor of the pass. The snow and rocks hit with a crash like a tidal wave. The avalanche seemed to bounce upwards, then crashed back down again. At that instant, Ron saw Toby and Tally disappear in the miasma of snow at its edge. "No!" he screamed. The rumbling started to abate. It seemed to be snowing, yet the light started to return. The rest of the party had stopped running and turned on hearing Ron's protest. A great half-cone of snow and ice, studded with rocks, now squatted in the pass where moments before they had stood. Seeing Ron running back towards the landslide of white and grey, they started to follow. "Keep Lydia back," Ambrose urged Harry. It may not have finished sliding. The chicken bobbing in his arms, Ambrose ran back towards Ron and the missing Americans. "They're here!" Ron shouted. "Dig! Dig before the snow freezes into solid ice again!" Ambrose exhorted him. Ron scrabbled in the fallen snow, heedless of the shards of ice cutting his bare fingers. Ambrose joined him, setting the chicken to one side, and began to dig as well. They noticed an orange glow on the surface of the ice. They looked up to see the chicken glowing with an amber aura. "Step back," Ambrose suggested. Ron joined him in doing so. The amber glow was now spreading. Looking around, Harry could see a filament of amber light, barely above the surface of the ice, connecting Lydia to the chicken. Where their friends had been buried, the glow started to come from beneath the mound of ice as well. The snow, ice, and rocks gradually began to move in circles. The movement accelerated until it looked like a whirlpool, glowing brighter and brighter with that amber light. Two dark figures could be seen in the centre of the whirlpool, rotating gently around each other. They were rising, becoming larger and more distinct. The light grew abruptly intense, and then was gone. It left a solid pool of pale green ice, with the forms of their two companions at the centre. As Ron and Ambrose moved forwards on hands and knees towards the two figures, Harry joined them. He saw Ambrose look past him to where he had left Lydia, still some distance away from the debris of the avalanche. "You two take Toby," Ron grunted as he lifted Tally, cradling her in his arms. "We should get them away in case there's another fall." Ambrose had Toby in a fireman's lift before Harry could move to assist him. "Fortuitously, I was a fireman for several years," Ambrose explained. "You seem to have had a lot of jobs," Harry noted. "Well, people kept noticing that I was not outstandingly good at them. Getting sacked is a magnificent aid to job mobility." Harry started to grin, but his amusement was stifled when he saw a trail of blood in the snow. His eyes quickly followed the line of crimson splashes to the figure in Ron's arms. Harry ran the few yards to where Ron was gently resting Tally's form on the snow. "Harry, she's..." he began. "I know," Harry assured him. They knelt either side of the young woman's unconscious body. Her clothes on her left side were soaked with blood, but she was still breathing. Ambrose joined them and laid her twin brother at her feet. Toby's face was cut over his right eye, but more concerning was that his arm was terrifyingly swollen and turning black. Harry felt a sickness that went right to his soul. It was as if the years had melted away and Voldemort were taunting him once more, mocking him for allowing others to die in his place. "It's all my fault," Harry protested, shaking his head. "My friends are being hurt because of me. People might die because of me. It's all happening again. I'm the target, but everyone around me is falling." "Harry," Ambrose began. "Don't you understand? It's exactly like before. Someone wants me dead and my friends insist on getting between us. But they are the ones who get hurt. They are the ones who die." They heard a sob. Looking around, they saw Lydia picking up the chicken, who had finally strutted back to her. "Harry," Ambrose intoned in a calming voice, "I think we have found your fear." "Indeed we have, Aura Potter," said a woman's voice.